Hey guys, Primal Chaos here. Welcome to the channel. Right, so I've done a couple of Pentatonix songs up till now, and you guys just can't stop recommending them. As a channel that sort of focuses on extreme vocals, what could be more extreme than human vocals harmonizing together in perfect harmony? And so look, it's always worth my time to sort of look into these guys. This song I remember hearing several years ago around Christmas time, because it is kind of a Christmassy song. And I just remember it blew my mind, but I haven't really listened to it since. So I was scrolling through and I'm like, oh, I should check that out, because I remember having like a really interesting experience with it the first time. I really don't remember much about it. So this is still technically a reaction video, but yeah, like, I mean, these guys blow your mind every time they perform. I'll also be looking into a few other acts you guys have thrown my way. Voice Play, I think it's called, something like that. And the country guys, free something, whatever it is. You guys know. But at this point, I just want to sort of get a few Pentatonix songs under my belt before I really move into any more sort of a cappella stuff. Because to me, this is my baseline for what is excellent. And I'll start comparing things, but I'd rather sort of maybe knock out 3 or 4 Pentatonix songs before I get too deep in the weeds. So here it is. This is Pentatonix, Mary Did You Know?
Mary, did you know that your baby boy
So rich.
would one day walk on water? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would save our sons and daughters? Did you know that your baby boy has come to make you new? This child that you delivered will soon deliver you.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy will give sight to a blind man? Mary, did you know that your baby boy will calm the storm with his hand? Did you know that your baby boy has walked where angels trod? When you kiss your little baby, you kiss the face of God. Mary, did you know? Mary, did you know? Mary, did you
The blind will see, the deaf will hear, the dead will live again. The lame will leap, the dumb will speak, the praises of the Lamb. Mary, did you know that your baby boy is Lord of all creation? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day rule the nation? Did you know that your baby boy is heaven's perfect lamb?
That sleeping child you're holding is the great I
Mary, did you know?
Ooh, wow. Wow. They got me again. God damn it. I'm gonna take a break. I'll be right back. Hey guys, this video is made possible by Enchroma. 1 in 6 guys and 1 in 200 women are colorblind, and if that happens to be you, there's something you can do about it. Click the link in the description, it'll take you to Enchroma's website where you can get a free eye test. And while you're there, maybe pick up some corrective lenses. They've got styles to suit everybody and a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you got really nothing to lose. And while you're there, use the code CHAOS in checkout to get 10% off. Tell them Primal Chaos sent you. You guys know me, right? Oh man, it's always the ones that have like such perfection that always get to me, right? Like you guys know also, like if you've been around, I'm prone to stopping. I prefer to stop the tracks during playback to sort of get ideas out and things I'm noticing, because I feel like it fulfills more of what you guys want from a reaction video. Is you want a reaction and you want to know what I'm thinking. And if I play the whole song through and then have to think back to what did I think about the song, you miss so much, right? And so some people are funny about me pausing. Most people, obviously they're here for a reaction video, they don't mind at all. That one, I just couldn't bring myself to stop it because it just flows so beautifully from point to point to point. But like that crescendo that happens, whereabouts is it? I don't even know. Probably here. Must be, yeah, it's after this. It just, I actually had butterflies in my heart. Like, listen to Avi. Oh.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy is Lord
and Kevin,
of all
I know, I mean, I know there's a lot of water under the bridge now, but Kevin, I remember watching something once where he was talking about how he came in not really as a strong a singer as everyone else, but was working on it. And like this solo of his is absolutely beautiful.
That your baby boy is Lord of all creation. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day rule the nation?
Then again, I guess he's got a lot of people around him who can coach him, right? So good. But that one part, man, that lift. And I love the fact that it sort of crescendos up and then it drops down so that all of a sudden you hear the entire range of everybody. Like you've got the highest highs, the lowest lows, all funneling out from like just, you know, their typical sort of moving chord structures. And then they just sort of lift and then drop. And it just, the effect it has is just, it's mind-blowing. It really is. It just doesn't seem possible that you can do this with just 5 human beings. You know, it just doesn't equate properly in my head. What else was like? Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about too. I love the way that they've framed both of the first 2 verses where they use Scott and Avi for the first 2 solos. And then in the second verse, it's Kirsten and Mitch, rather than having like structurally, rather than having somebody sing half a verse and then a completely foreign different voice singing the next part of that verse would be very jarring. So they give you a break. They use 2 similar voices.
Did you know
So Scott's voice and Avi's voice aren't all that different when they're singing in this register. There might be a little bit more richness in Avi's voice down low, but they're not all that different. And see, they're not having like low and high together. They've got voices that match. Not only that, oh my God, the other thing I wanted to bring up, that sort of staccato, like it's like pizzicato strings, right? Like plucked violin strings, like doop, 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 sort of things that they do in orchestral stuff. That's the arrangement that you've got Mitch and Kirsten doing right now. the vocal acuity that's required to do that it's absolutely stunning. It just comes from decades of just vocal training, working on pitch accuracy, and the ability to, like you look at most rock singers, right? And I use them as an example because traditionally most rock singers don't have an insane amount of training. Gross stereotype, obviously, but it's a fact. Most rock bands start in garages and people just wanting to be the singer of a band. And so not only is the impetus for most singers to not learn how to sing properly, but they tend to do things like they'll sing up to a note, right? You'll, like, if the note is they'll be like up to, that was two different notes. You get the idea. They tend to push the limits up to the note because they usually write songs that may be a little bit too high for themselves, or whatever the reason may be. Maybe it's the way that they hear, and they're trying to find their pitch in the music. And I mean, this isn't exclusively rock singers either, but it just seems to be more common, with them. Like, you have singers, there's certain professional touring artists, I could name 3 or 4 of them right now, that I don't believe have ever actually sung a note in key. They're always, if this is the pitch, they're always right here pushing up to it, but never quite getting there. They're always a little bit flat. And that's just part of who they are. And I think most people, when they listen to the music, don't really notice it so much. Sometimes it drives me crazy. But what I'm getting at is the amount of work that goes into being able to take an organic instrument, which is your larynx, your voice, and to be able to pitch accurately with pinpoint precision complicated arpeggios, particularly while you're harmonizing with someone else. Like, listen.
Baby boy has come to make you new. This child that you deliver.
Or the dum 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 sort of stuff. It's just, they make it look so easy. Now, I know a lot of you out there watching this, you're not going to be, a lot of you are like singers at different levels of professionalism and stuff like that. And I mean, I don't need to tell you guys this stuff, you know this, but for the average person who just gets swept up in the beauty of Pentatonix or a cappella groups in general, or this style or genre, I'm talking to you people, that you guys know these guys are great. That's part of the reason these guys are a cut above the average group you'll see wandering around, and I mean, there's a lot of world-class a cappella groups, and they're probably all as accurate as this, but I just fixate with these guys for some reason. But it's not so much, you might be taken by the beautiful timbre of their voices and the way that they can produce beautiful notes and melodies and harmonies, but it's the work going on in the background that a lot of people don't hear that really sets these guys apart from a bunch of people who can sing, and it's those little textural nuanced bits that just...
They walk on water. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would save our sons and daughters? Did you know that...
Not only that, if you listen to it... whatever the notes are, they're not high either. Both of those voices, Kirsten and Mitch, they're singing really low in their register too, which is typically, often for singers, it's harder to pitch notes lower than it is to pitch higher, particularly if you've got a high timbre or a high range to begin with. Because once you start relaxing your vocal cords to get down to those low notes and having to think down and sort of get down really low, get down here, suddenly everything's loose. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to pitch things when everything's tight and the muscles are already flexed and contracting, and it's easier to sort of control. Whereas when you get down, when your vocal cords are just loosely vibrating, it's a lot harder to sing licks and stuff like that, which is why you'll find most of the people who sing, those not pentatonics, but pentatonic style licks in R&B particularly, they typically have higher voices. You never hear baritones being because it's harder to articulate those notes with loose vocal cords. These guys, they're just, in fact, I'm curious now, who's doing...
Mary, did you know that your baby boy will give sight to a blind man? Mary, did
So that's interesting. So you'll notice, as a point of difference between verse 1 and verse 2, you notice it's a lot more punch to it now because there's more... is there any drums in the first one? Right, so there's no drum backing. So when Kirsten and Mitch come in, you'll notice that Kevin...
will soon deliver to me.
Yeah, I mean, now we've got beatboxing. But check this out. I just noticed this in the background when Kirsten's singing. Mitch is still doing the arpeggios. And then they switch. Wow. I could just watch this all day and just pick apart nuance and just all the layers and textures and stuff like that. It's just absolutely beautiful. But you know what? I'm not going to. Go put on a really good set of headphones and just listen. You know, just listen to them and appreciate them and try to find something each time you listen that maybe you haven't noticed before, because we get into these rhythms of listening to our favorite songs where you just expect the certain things to happen and certain things to pop up. And sometimes it's nice to revisit songs, particularly if you haven't heard them for a couple of months or something like that, with a good stereo system or a good set of headphones, and just try and find things you never spotted before, like a cool drum fill or a bass line that you hadn't really focused on before. And, you know, part of being a musician is to understand what characteristics each instrument brings to the overall sound. So a lot of people out there who may not be musicians or, you know, vocalists in like a vocal group, you know, you might not be comfortable or used to listening and hearing textural devices in the background or interesting beatbox rhythms or things like that. You might just see the facade of the overall sound and a cool lead vocal. So I encourage you to listen to some of your favorite songs and try to pick out something you hadn't spotted before. That's your homework for this week. Anyway, look, if you feel like I'm brightening your day at all, feel free to buy me a coffee. I'll just leave a link in the description. And, you know, like, share, subscribe, follow. If you feel like this video might be useful to anyone else, send them a link. That'd be great. That's the best way to sort of get the word out there about the channel. And listen, where should I go next? You guys were really cool to throw down a whole bunch of options for other groups. So keep that going. And also any other Pentatonix songs, which I absolutely must do. That'd be great as well. Thank you so much. I'll catch you guys on the next one.